What is going on, guys? This is PUREXNOBLE, and it looks like on day one of the Black Ops 6 beta release, cheats are now available for players to use, and it is quite sad. Let's talk about it. So unfortunately, as you can see right here in one of the cheating Discord servers, it says BO6 Umbra announcement. We are happy to announce that Umbra is now available for use on Black Ops 6 beta. The majority of these features are updated, but some bugs may happen due to how early we are in the game cycle. Please make sure your users do not close the loader after they open MW3. Chairs will be loaded once they open BO6 Umbra will be loaded. When that is done, the loader will close by itself. Hope you all have fun. And unfortunately, the only people that are gonna be having fun is the cheaters that are ruining this game. Alrighty, so I opened up the picture to see what type of features are gonna be available for the Black Ops 6 cheats, and it looks like cheaters are gonna be using features like Aimbot, anti-aim, ESP, chams, which is kind of like I guess outlines. It's similar to skeleton, but instead of just seeing the skeleton within the player, you're actually going to see the outline of the player itself. Most times, I don't know why most cheats providers have this, because even you'll see it a lot in the Apex scene. Apex cheats get detected a lot because of these features. So if this coder or if this person, whoever made this cheat, is worried about detection vectors, one detection vector is this right here. So I don't know why they wanted to add it on. It looks nice. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to use it, but guess what? A lot of people are going to get banned by it. Now let me do a quick breakdown of each setting in the aimbot section. Of course, I can't click on the next section because it's just a picture itself, but from what I can see here, let me just give you a brief explanation as to what all these features really do. So starting with aimbot, looks like normal aimbot. Of course, that's self-explanatory. Visible check, what this means is your aimbot program will not trigger unless the player is seen, because there are cases where if you are using walls and you are saying having aimbot toggled on or automatic, players might accidentally lock onto their targets behind the wall, which makes it even more sus. So that's why they put visible check to say, hey, I want the aimbot to only turn on when I see the actual player. And then you got distance. So this is the part where it comes with a lot of smoke and mirrors, where a lot of players will set it to only activate at a certain distance. So anything, I would say maybe 30 or 50 meters and above, they don't necessarily turn aimbot on just to make it look less sus, because it's kind of like, oh look, I'm beaming from a distance and it looks like I'm trying to self-correct, I'm missing all my shots, because honestly that is their natural aim. The only time that they're going to have their aimbot set on is when they get into their close range gunfights, in which it really matters. Now I haven't looked at an aimbot menu for a while, but this is one of a new one I'm not familiar with, but I'm assuming what the aim required or aim minimum amount is how long their aim button is held. So for example, instead of having immediate aimbot turn on the moment that they pull the trigger or click the mouse button, they have to aim for X amount of milliseconds and then aimbot will trigger. So what that means is it creates another smoke and mirror illusion, where if you are naturally shooting, it's going to take a while to self-correct your aim. So that aim required time is simulating the same action of like, oh, I'm shooting my shots first. It looks like I'm missing my shots, so let me recorrect my aim. Boom, aimbot turns on. And then of course you got ignore down. So ignore down means instead of aimbot turning on the down player, which makes it even more sus, they do ignore down, which honestly I think it kind of backfires, because have you ever seen players, they lock on so easily to the enemy players, but once they get downed, it's like their aim assist suddenly just turns off and their aim goes all over the place, and they have to stop firing, they have to recorrect themselves and then shoot the down player. So in my opinion, I think turning on that ignore down feature is really gonna give away their position. But anyways, let's get to the next setting. Look like for bone setting, this is what I mean about why a lot of people think, oh, he's not hitting all headshots, so that means he must not be using aimbot. I'm sure this late stage into Call of Duty post MW 2019, a lot of people, I really hope that a lot of people don't just think aimbot is headshot only. They can change to which part that they can target for the aimbot, whether it be chest, neck, shoulder. It even goes down to hand. You can have them lock onto a hand. It just depends on the cheating feature. But that's what this bone setting is for first. And let's talk about bone scan. Now bone scan is that's how you can tell these cheats are getting very advanced. Bone scan's been around for a while, but what bone scan is, say you have your target set to your neck, but when you initially aim at the player, you aim at their leg. what's going to happen is it's going to start at their leg and it's going to move up to the position in which bone setting you have it set to. So if I have it set to neck, it's essentially going to shoot from leg all the way and scans up to neck. It's going up the skeletal body of the player. That is crazy. And then let's go to the FOV setting. So FOV setting is the radius in which the aimbot will trigger. So for example, if you look here, he has his FOV circle turned on. Now this is something that the stream cannot see, only the player can see. But essentially, if this X was the iron sight, people will literally turn their FOV so small to match the iron sight, where they know that as long as they can naturally aim with the iron sight and the aimbot will turn on, that's all they need to do. This is another example of a smoke and mirror illusion, because it's like, oh, the enemy player is so close to the iron sight, it looks like rotational aim assist is taking over. And then same thing that goes with this smooth setting. Smooth setting 200%, 100%, 50%. Think of smooth setting as like the amount of time it takes for the aimbot strength to kick in. So like for example, if the strength of the aimbot, if 1 was like it's barely pulling to the target, while 10 is like automatic lock on, in order to get to strength aimbot 10, right, the higher the smooth setting, the longer it takes to get to aimbot 10 if they have it set to aimbot 10. So if you have it at 200%, let's say 200% equals to 200 milliseconds. That means the aimbot won't get strong until you're shooting after 200 milliseconds. That way it creates another smoke and mirror illusion of a player naturally correcting their aim. And then of course you got other self-explanatory features such as auto shoot, trigger bot, full auto weapons. But other than that, like, it is crazy. The beta has not even been released yet. And honestly, I'm not that surprised, because it kind of makes sense. If they're sticking with one engine now and they're not changing up the gameplay like how they did with Cold War, then they went to Vanguard, and they're still sticking with the Modern Warfare engine, which I personally like because I'm a personal fan of the engine itself. But the fact that it's going to stick to the same going forward with all the Call of Duty titles, that is the reason why these cheats can be made so easily, so fast, and it's made to adapt really quickly to the next game each year, because they already have the base dev kit design and code of the game. All they have to do is just change the bit of numbers here and there to make sure that it matches up with the updated game. I just find it completely insane that Activision is a billion-dollar company. They have so much capital and they have so much resources to pull from to create a solid anti-cheat. And to be honest, you don't even need that much resources. Look at other games like CSGO or Valorant. Valorant is a perfect example of a solid anti-cheat. It ain't perfect, but it's definitely a lot more robust and a lot more stronger than Call of Duty's Ricochet anti-cheat. And the reason why Call of Duty Ricochet is never going to be as advanced and strong as Vanguard, because Vanguard is a little bit more invasive in regards to what it can read on your computer. It is more than just reading the kernel level of the computer. That's why a lot of closet hackers are always going to argue and always push the agenda of like, you can't have the cheat as strong as Vanguard because that is a personal invasion of my privacy on my computer. Who knows what Call of Duty is going to be looking at, when essentially Call of Duty is really only looking at the game and making sure that you are not a cheating piece of shit. But let's look at the root core of the problem, guys. The anti-cheat should never even exist in the first place, given that people are not shitty people. But unfortunately, because of human nature, because there are 7 billion people in the world, there are chances that there are gonna be shitty people who don't have the same moral compass as everyone else does. And unfortunately, that is life. That is the reason why you have that question of like, who's to blame? Is it the player base or is it Activision's, you know, lack of effort in creating the anti-cheat? It's a little bit of both, but I would like to say, because it's impossible to undo shitty human nature, Activision should act more upon having a better anti-cheat, because you can't help this side of human nature, but you can pour your resources in making a solid anti-cheat. If there's a solid anti-cheat, there is going to be no cheating player base. But will cheating kill COD? In my opinion, no, not necessarily. Cheating has been around since MW19, and if you count console cheating such as like Cronus, strike packs, modded lobbies, you know, cheating back then was still there. It's not to say that it's never been there at all, but the exponential increase of how bad the cheating scene has gotten ever since the introduction of crossplay, you can't deny that. But look where Activision is now. This is going to be their 5th game in. They are not slowing down. They're not seeing a drop in revenue. They're not seeing a drop in the sales games. Let me give you some statistics. From the year 2012 to the year 2022, the revenue for the game, honestly, when you look at units sold, has actually dropped by 45%. But when you look at the microtransactions that these bundle stores do, especially for Warzone Mobile, the mobile game, their revenue has increased by 245%. That is insane. The last question that I want to end, guys, is what can we do as players to be able to stop the cheating scene? Whether I have 3,000 followers, or if I'm like Prestigious Key and have over 1 million followers, or J God who has over 1 million followers. To be honest, I think collectively as a community, we need to bring back shaming to people who are cheating in the game. Because over the years, because of the rise in content creators, because of the rise of streamers, because of the rise in closet hackers, the cheating factors in Call of Duty has been so normalized. Everyone is okay with tooling. Everyone is okay with VPNs. Everyone is okay with using DS4 Windows. Everyone is okay with using macros. Everyone is okay with using, SBMM off, all these other programs to manipulate the game so that they could have a better experience compared to the rest of the player base that are actually playing honestly. But honestly, if you were to take the amount of people that normalizes cheating versus the people that do not normalize cheating, unfortunately, we are the minority in this case, and that is the reason why it doesn't matter how loud I can get. It doesn't matter how many videos I make about how bad the cheating scene is, because the majority of the Call of Duty player base normalizes cheating. That is why for people who are honest gamers are always going to be fighting an uphill battle. But if anything, guys, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. If you do like this video, please like and subscribe and join the fam. All right, take care, guys.